Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by TheLines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we're looking at some play-up props here on Monday with you guys. 12 NBA games tonight, so plenty to choose from. We've also got a Best Bets episode up alongside these player props that we're bringing you. So make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us all season. Let's build on that 2-2 we had here on Friday, Nate, and get into your first play-up prop for Monday night.
Ja Morant over 28.5 points assists. You might have to go up to 29 to get proper juice here, but I mean, MGM was offering a good price at 28. It's Ja at the Garden, so sign me up. I mean, and in general, he's been kind of a road showman. Over in 8 of his last 10 roadies, averaging 23.5 and 7 dimes, 34% usage. So to get over in just 30 minutes per game. This one probably more competitive, certainly. I mean, it's a +3 spread here. Knicks love to get into shootouts these days. They really struggle to protect the rim. And so you look at the two unders for Ja in that span. It's against Minnesota and the Lakers, or against Rudy Gobert and Anthony Davis, like two guys who are far, far, far better protecting the rim than Cat. The Knicks in their last 12, 26th in defensive rating, allowing 6th most paint points, allowing the 8th most attempts at the rim, and the tied worst three-point defense above the break. So that could help with some dimes there. Ja going to get in there, get some help. You know, they might throw McCall at him, throw OG at him at times, try to get the ball out of his hands, but he's more than happy to spread it around and probably give you double-digit dimes here. Probably gets at the free throw line as well. And it's MSG. You always got to look at like those splits more than anything because it is the mecca, right? It is the biggest, the brightest lights in the sport. And certain guys are going to turn up, at least with their intention to turn up. So Ja, his last two at MSG, 25 and 11.5 on 34% usage. Like he's not even been efficient. 38% of the field, has not made a three, 0 for 9. And he's flown over this total because he's just like, I got to go out there and put on a show. I got people here, whatever, lots of eyes on me. I'm going to be attacking the rim. I'm going to be trying to dunk Cat into oblivion if possible. That would be the ideal scenario. But yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't come down hard and hurt himself, you should be good. But Memphis does have 2 days off after this before they play Houston. So I expect a full go for Ja and probably a full slate of minutes.
That's a key right there. Yeah, is what's the upcoming schedule for this team and how many minutes can we rely on? And they have the ample opportunity here to just play Ja as much as he can go. Like you said, obviously with the asterisk that he has to not land on his tailbone every time he goes up and is flying through the air like an astronaut. But I'm just Cat. This is all a lot of this is about Cat. He is not good on defense. We've been targeting opposite opponent bigs and even rebounds and points. Like I know that certain centers haven't done well because Cat will pull them from the basket and get whatever. Fine. It doesn't matter in this game when you've got guys who are just flying at the rim and you have no rim protection for the Knicks. I say again, almost no rim protection for the Knicks. Like Mitch Robb has to be on this team for them to have any kind of chance of making a run through the Eastern Conference playoffs towards the finals. So they don't have that yet, and Ja's going to feast. But let me talk about another fast break player here. We're talking about Christian Braun, over 16.5 points and rebounds. The real thing here is like it's 3.5 boards, and that is just far too low for someone averaging like almost 5 rebounds per game, even when he's playing with all the healthy guys out there for Denver that are going to be out there tonight, which is everybody. He's still getting the boards. He's still at about 4.4 boards per game when he's got Ago and Jokic and Murray and Porter and everybody's around. But the thing that drew me to him right away was he's playing Chicago, who is horrible in the open floor. They're horrible on defense everywhere. However you want to get it, they'll allow you to have it. And that's huge for guys who play in fast-paced situations. So if you look at Christian Braun this season versus teams who are in the top 10 in pace, which Chicago very, very much so is, he's actually got way better numbers. He's averaging 21.2 PR per game in 11 games where he's played versus the top 10 pace teams in the league. And I don't think there's that much coincidence there. And I will say of those 11 games, at least one of Joker, Murray, but one person was missing in like 9 of those 11 games. So I will take that with a grain of salt. But the thing is now, like Aaron Gordon, as much as he's back, still has this 25 minutes limit. And this isn't the game that you need Aaron Gordon to be out there to handle. Like he played more minutes against the Wolves in the beatdown. since he's come back from injury than in any other game, but he's still basically at like 22, 23 minutes every game. So that does leave that open for Christian Braun to get those boards. If you look at his stuff when he's playing with the starting lineup now, which includes Russ in place of Aaron Gordon, he's looking at 17 points per 36 and 5 boards per 36. If you switch Russ and Ago, he's still at 14 points per 36 and 5 boards per 36. So he is a guy that's been very good playing off of Jokic. He's had a lot more usage off of things like dribble handoff and backdoor cuts more than anything. And that's what I'm looking for against a team that's, you call Toronto one of the worst teams limiting the paint. Chicago would like to put their hat in the ring as well for the worst team limiting in the paint. So I think that's where you take Christian Braun as a guy going to the rim who should be able to get some boards in the open floor when there's fast break transition points.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the crazy total here. His props are much more reasonable than a Russ Westbrook or a Jokic, of course. But yeah, he should thrive just as much when this gets out in the open floor. So sign off for sure. So I'm taking the Magic. It's up to -2.5 as we record here. But if you don't want to take that or you want to get some extra juice, take Franz to get 20 plus. I think you definitely add the PRA. It's 9 rebounds and assists to add. If Jalen Suggs looks like he's not going to go because the assists should be up big time in that situation. I mean, the last full game, Franz played without him, 21 and 7 dimes without Suggs and way more potential assists. But yeah, I mean, you just look at him as, getting back on track, 24 minutes in his return and they got blowed out, but jumps right to 30 minutes. So not on a strict restriction here, goes for 32 and 7 against Detroit, the team that I think is going to be better defending this area than Miami. I mean, certainly Franz had 23 in 23 minutes in the opener against Miami. So we're now looking at a potentially closer game here. But yeah, the thing is, like, Jimmy Butler might start on him defending him, because we talk about Jimmy just literally sabotaging the defense, does not care. And of course, I just, thinking that, go to the data, and of course Miami allows the most points per game to small forwards in their last 15, whether Jimmy's in there or not. Because honestly, when he's not in there, it's like, who are you putting on the small forward? Duncan Robinson, Jaquez, Highsmith, Jovic. Like, they're probably going to use their better defenders on Paolo in terms of Bam or Khalil Ware and help. Like, Paolo's still a problem, and then Franz just gets to eat it up now. I mean, when he was number one option with Paolo out, Franz was like 30 every night, getting the top defender, and now he gets to operate against the second, or like a much easier matchup. So I think we can continue to look at him. I mean, he has his more drives than Paolo in these 2 games since coming back, 15 a game, scoring 11.5 on the drives. The Heat are giving up a 120 defensive rating their last 7 with Butler. That makes sense. Primary ball handlers have basically all been running over against this team. Jamal Murray, Dame Lillard, Anthony Simons, James Harden, even D'Lo and Keon Johnson, if that is your primary guys for the Nets last time out. And, I do think Keon Johnson has a lean for 13.5 points against Sacramento is fine, but we're not throwing out that necessarily. I mean, I'm far more confident here in Franz getting like 25 maybe if this game is close enough that it's required.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Franz is one of these dudes that it was itching to play. Like, he's the dude, like, when you were playing when you were younger, like, you guys would play like 3 hours of pickup and then everyone's exhausted and they're done. He's still just shooting around from 3 and just taking hundreds of shots after everyone's too tired, because he's obsessed with basketball. And that's everything you learn about Franz, is that he was pretty unbearable to be around while he couldn't play basketball, because that's how much he needed basketball, like oxygen, essentially. And you could see it in the first game back. Like, this dude just wants to hoop, and he wants to put up shots, and he wants to score. And there's not many guys in the league that can take him one-on-one at this point. And that should really be more overly stated, because he is such an incredible one-on-one player. And to your point, like, he's going to have size on Haywood, he's going to have speed on Jovic, and then if you're talking about Jaime, he's also going to have a little bit of size there. Jaime is probably the best guy for him, but who knows what's going on with that Heat rotation. And they need Jovic out there as on offense. Like, they need him. It's at that point now where he's that crucial to their offense, and that is not good for his ability to guard a very important player on the other team. So let's go to the final pick here and talk about Zion. Over 11.5 rebounds and assists. Now, I thought that was safe no matter what, because we've got DeJounte Murray questionable, right? We've also got on the other side Jakob Poeltl questionable, which is just as important for some of the stuff we talk about with Zion, because I'm not saying Poeltl is like, Hakeem Olajuwon or Shaq down there on defense blocking shots, but he's a formidable foe that you at least have at 7'1", as opposed to nothing, where Zion can just jump over everybody else. So if Pirtle does not play, I think you got to add the points up to like 22.5, to be honest. Like there's just nobody that's going to stop him. And he should be shooting 9 to 10 free throws in this game if there is no Pirtle, because they're going to have to foul him. And he's the reason that this team has increased its free throw attempt rate over the last 5-10 games with his presence back in the lineup a bit. So if you look at him with DJ Murray on the court, DeJounte on the court with him alongside CJ and Trey Murphy, you're going to see that he actually is averaging 20 rebounds and assists per 36. Now, he's only playing about a 25 to 28 minute restriction here when he's a full go, and he should be good with enough rest over the course of the last week to go for his full 25, 28 minutes tonight. And his numbers per minute are absurd. He's at a rebound chance per minute this season since he came back from injury. That's absurd, right? And he's looking at basically a rebound every other minute and a half when he's on the floor. That's the type of efficiency that he's been playing with. Same goes for the offense in terms of the points, but sticking to the rebounds and the assists, he's basically averaging 15 rebound chances and a 9.5 potential assists over the last 10 games. I've got to feel good about 11.5 rebounds and assists in that situation. Like I said, when he's on the floor with these guys, it's basically like without Brandon Ingram on the floor with Zion Williamson, you get the best version of Zion Williamson. It's just that simple. Plus, you've got Yves Missy, who is not necessarily someone who has to stand in the dunker spot. He's not staying in the way. It's not like he's a 3-point shooter by any means. It's just that he is versatile enough, or at least quick enough to be able to move his feet, stay up at the top, and then crash the boards following Zion after Zion goes into the lane. And there's just no real good matchups. But the assist might be a little bit scary. I would be willing to ladder the rebounds though. Like I could see the rebounds carrying us with like 10 of them, and then we only need the 2 assists that he would need to get to the 12 RA. So that's why I added them both. I do think the rebounds are a good play by themselves. There are some random games where Zion takes a little bit of a back seat on the boards and gets maybe 6 of them, and then decides to do the rest with the assists. So I just put them both together here. I do think this will end closer to like 12.5 rebounds and assists. And if Pirtle's out, the points might skyrocket upwards a bit. But I do think with Pirtle out, he's good for like 24, 25 in this one.
Yeah, Zion up to 12 potential assists in his last 5 outings, I believe, or 3 outings. And DeJounte is leading the team in his last 5 in that span. So, yeah, certainly more assists to be had. He only had 7 potentials and 2 assists on Saturday, as we mentioned. Yeah, the rest of the Pelicans couldn't hit a shot, and they were just tired from the back-to-back, and Zion did it all himself. But yeah, I think the assists are definitely what you're looking to buy low on here, and the rebound chances should be there against Toronto, which likes to play fast and should provide some misses. I mean, yeah, I think you might want to add the points here, depending on where it's at. I mean, what number are we talking?
Like 20, 21.5 is still very beatable for sure.
Yeah, that seems low for Zion. Yeah, who's been getting 20 easily. But yeah, maybe you just want to check on which bigs are going to be out for Toronto.
Yep. And if DeJounte is out there, I do like the points more for Zion, even though he's shown the ability to dime up. There's also been this narrative that like within the coaching staff that they want DeJounte Murray to take more shots. So that's another reason I wasn't scared of the assist if DeJounte's out there. But I think you're good either way for stats in this one for both those guys. So that's all the time we have for you in player props, though. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that page. Turn those notifications on. Don't miss any of the stuff we're bringing you alongside. We've got best bets up in a separate episode. So until we see you next, happy betting.